नमस्ते गुरुजी, जय गुरुजी महाराज, जय गुरुजी संगत जी। शुक्राना गुरुजी महाराज का मल्टीलिंगुअल जूम प्लेटफॉर्म आप सबका बहुत बहुत स्वागत करता है। आज हमारे बीच में सन आंटी आई हैं संगत शेयरिंग के लिए। आइए हम सब मिलकर उनका स्वागत करें। ओवर टू यू सन आंटी, वेलकम वंस अगेन।
Jai Guruji Maharaj, Shukrana Guruji.
जय गुरुजी, जय गुरुजी, जय गुरुजी। I'm
Jai
happy to
Guruji.
see you once again at this platform. I think third or fourth time for Sangha sharing. Otherwise, you have been reciting so many divine epics from our page and so many other things. Guruji ki seva, it is him.
Thanks, Uncle.
Satsang, I just wish to let all of you know, son auntie and her mother, they had translated Guruji's prostration English content into Persian language before 2 years. So she has committed to translate anything, whatever we will be providing her in Persian language in future too. Jai Guruji. Jai Guruji.
Jai Guruji Maharaj.
I bind you now, right?
Thank you, Uncle Ji. You are, of course, Maharaj's blessing and this love that I always get from Sangat and yourself.
Over to you, Auntie. Please carry on. Jai Guruji.
Thank you. Thank you to Maharaj. As we know, whatever we do is all his doing, his action. Thank you for this amazing page that has been so beneficial to myself and to a lot of my Persian friends, Iranian friends, who have benefited, whether it was Paramahansa Yogananda's Persian. And let me say that Maharaj knows that I have not been at all his doing, but not at all consistent with it. So, but maaf karo Maharaj, maaf karo. Shukrana to Maharaj for blessing me to sing his praises. What other blessing can one want? And ultimately sharing it with his children, that I know that he takes form in all of his children. As Shiv Puran says over and over, Shiva takes form in all the beings, and it's all him. So thank you, Guruji, in so many abundant forms, blessing me to connect with you here now through this blessed channel. I just will start very, very, very brief, how Maharaj initiated me, and then I would go to other satsangs that I have not shared anywhere, the recent satsang. So I was raised by my grandma, a grandma who later plays a huge role in connecting me deeper to Maharaj, which I had not known, but she was truly an extension of Maharaj. She was light. She was just in Shukrana all the time. And I mean, even when she slept, she was saying Shukrana. You could hear her say Shukrana. And she was in love with God. And as if God is her husband, like that kind of relationship. And it was love, feeling like heart. And not logical, not rituals, none of that. It was true love. And she never told me what to do. Never. Her knowing was that if you're supposed to be somewhere, you will be there. God will take you. If you're supposed to be praying, he will call you into praying or connecting to him. So she never forced me into doing anything. But so I called her my mom when we left Canada. In 2003, 6 years after, I get a huge intuitive voice telling me that I should go to Iran. It hadn't been 6 years that I'd seen her, and so my mom, of course, didn't allow me. But then, of course, Maharaj made it happen, and I go to Iran. I see my grandma. The night that I go, the one night, and that was July 2003. And the night that I am at her house, 4 or 5 in the morning, of course Maharaj wakes me up, and I see him standing right in front of me, just to the right a bit, and then with both hands up, his body a bit tilted, as if he was hiding behind. I didn't see his legs. I just saw from his hip up, and I saw him standing like this, looking at me, and everything looking like Maharaj, but I only saw one huge vertical third eye. And it was the eye that, like, it just didn't make sense to me. It just, because logical, right? What do I know? I mean, not from the culture, I don't know, nothing of nothing. And so I was just like, I covered myself, and I just knew one mantra in Persian, and I just kept saying that. And I knew my grandma would wake up for her morning namaz. And so 5, or I don't know when. The moment she did, I just ran to her and I'm like, look, there's a man in your house, but he doesn't look like a man. And I tried to say everything that I could, the way that I could. And I was crying. I was like, I was shivering. I was like, look, there's someone in the house. And she was like, she just put her hands on my shoulders. She hugged me. She was like, just calm down, calm down. She made something sweet, and she's like, he's always around me. And I'm like, am I alive? Like, am I actually hearing you right now? He's around you. And I'm like, did I see a ghost? Did I see? And I was a very, like, I needed answers. Your mind wants answers to satisfy itself, your ego. And I was like, did I see this? And she was like, yeah. Just calm. Yeah, you saw it. Just calm down. That was the last time that I went to that house. I just ran after breakfast. I was out of there. She never told me anything more, but Maharaj made me, I remember every time I went to talk about that incident, it's like something just like didn't allow it to happen. It's like a hand that got a hold of my neck. And life went on, and I was there for the whole July 2003, saw my grandma. She always traveled after that to come and see me. And we never spoke about it. He never allowed it to happen. And now I say this because so years later, when Maharaj came in my life and I finally had Agya to tell my family about Maharaj, my mom started crying, and I thought that, but she thinks I'm crazy now, but she actually was crying because she was like, Grandma was telling us for so many years that a bald-headed man with a one eye appears around her everywhere she's gone, everywhere, from Mecca, from all the houses that she lived in Iran. And let me say, Maharaj says, so true, that VIPs and rich people come to me, but I go to poor people. My grandma was not, we were like medium class, but my grandma was, just a simple, very simple, very simple. I don't want to say poor, but not medium class, in between that. And Maharaj went to her all the time. And she was in love, true love. And so anyway, so my mom was like, she's been telling us, and I never believed her, and now you're telling me exactly the same thing. So it connected so many years after for her. Of course, his timing. So basically, Maharaj came in my life through the divine book of the Divine Light. One day he takes me to a bookstore. How he came about, it's a long satsang, but I'm not going to go into it because, again, I want to share other stuff per his grace. And so my feet get locked on a bookstore. I was bedridden for close to 3 years, 6 years of ailments. Only Maharaj knows the suffering you go through. There's no point of even saying it. And the reason why I always say this is because, of course, he can save you from any state that you're in, any state. Even in a state like me, where 3 different countries had given up on you, the doctors, of course, the medical team, now, and you had knocked on every door that you can imagine. Churches, mosques, temples, Sufi homes, hypnosis, healings, this, that, every door I knocked, the door was shut. And so finally, of course, he opened his doors when I put my white flag up and I surrendered. I remember that day exactly when his vision came back to me. He said, pray to me. I said, you know, you're the only supernatural being that I've seen that was confirmed by my grandma. You helped me. And about 1st of July, Canada Day, he takes me to a bookstore. My feet get locked. How I got there is another graceful story. How he spoke in front of thousands of people in a church, said this suffering is over and land of grace is near, takes me to a bookstore after. My feet get locked. I couldn't walk forward. And again, that intuitive voice was go inside, went in, and I had seen a white light in my room 2 years prior that went into my body on the second episode when I was bedridden for 11 months. And that white light healed my body. And I didn't say anything to anyone because nobody, I was like, who's going to believe that a white, like, they're going to think I'm crazy. So I never mentioned anything to anyone. And that was the hardest part. I felt incredibly alone in my journey in those 6 years. That was the hardest thing for me, that I couldn't tell anybody and I couldn't talk to anybody about the mystical experiences, the experiences that I was having. And but I'm so grateful to Maharaj because he made me realize that I don't need any human, and we only need him, and that is enough. That is everything. And so he was there, but it wasn't time for the student to know of the master's presence till that day when I went to the bookstore. The white light comes. I see actually I have the book right here. I see exactly on the shelf exactly like this, and the light connected. So that's the only part that Maharaj got me to see. Light connected, picked up the book, looked at the book, opened it to the first page. No coincidence, the amount that they sold the book equals to 7. And so anyway, I opened the book and I made fun of the book. I was like, huh, none of this exists. God, what is this? But I sent a prayer. And this is one of the biggest lessons that Maharaj taught me, even before he initiated me, that like, you know how he says, when you put a lipstick, remember me? In every single decision, in every point of your life, no matter what it is, if you have him in your mind, and how blessed can we be to have him 100% in our minds, and go throughout whatever responsibility and task in day just with his Naam. And I remember I sent a prayer and I was like, God, you just choose the books for me. That was not me. None of this, of course, none of our actions are, it's all his. And the book comes home with me, the same book that I made fun of. And so 5th of July, I have a dream of him and I see him in my dream. I had never opened the book till that day. And then 2 days after, of course, the book is opened. His birthday, I say, look, if you're Lord Shiva, if you are the being that I have seen, you need to just show me something special. And the next line that I read was Guruji Maharaj's special day is July 7. And that's when my life changed. I felt the universe froze. I felt I was the only one in this universe. I can never describe it. But let's go to the more of his divinity. He can do of course we know this, he can do anything. And for me, it had to be when I put my flag up, when I decided that I am no longer in control. I wanted to take control of my life, of how I was being treated, how my life should look like, where I should go, who I should be with, this image that I had created in my life, in my head. And Maharaj was like, no, nothing is in your control. Everything is in my hands. Everything is in my control. Let it go and watch the wonder. As he says, give me your ego and witness the real wonder. And the moment I actually surrendered, the most wonderful event happened in my life, and I cried for a whole year. And I really mean that. I cried for 1 year straight. He sent me to Satsang. How he gives us everything in perfect alignment, orchestrated to happen before COVID. So I had in Toronto satsangs every single day. I would go to satsangs, park my car in another area where Sangat lived. I'm an hour drive, and I would go to a satsang in Amrit Villa, sleep in my car, go to one in the afternoon, get back in my car, stay in the car. I didn't have Agya, or he didn't allow me to speak to anyone, to talk to him. I would just go to satsangs. He would put my head down, come out. I needed so much healing that for 1 year, I just healed. And I would come to my car, cry, go back to satsang at night. So for 1 year exactly, he just healed me. And July 13 was the day that I walked into a satsang. He told me, get up and share your satsang. I was like, Maharaj, like I was having a one-on-one telepathic. I was like, Guruji, I'm not going to get up. And he was like, get up and share your satsang. I still had some pain in my head. And then it got, he was like, okay, your head won't heal if you don't get up and share your satsangs. And I literally felt it expand, like increase a bit. And I was like, look, if you want me to get up, just let me know this is your will. Let me know this is your doing. And at that same moment, a girl came with a t-shirt, just same moment, said rise on it. And I got up, and that was the last day it's going to be 4 years, July 13th, that I experienced any pain in my body. Shukrana to Guruji. I have to say that whatever Maharaj blesses us, it's permanent. Whatever we ask him, I've learned in my journey that it's like a loan. That's why he says, don't ask me anything. He made me learn this actually in 2018 till last year, that never ask me for anything, because I'm a giver and I will give you. But if you ask me, then you're asking for a loan. But if I give you something out of my own love and kindness, and I know what you need, so I'll give it to you, then that thing is permanent. That has been one of the biggest satsangs. I really have to say, the inner blessings, the inner wisdom, the inner transformation is the biggest satsang, that no matter how much any of us talk about it, it will never be enough, and we can't really express it. He only knows. I'm not the person I was 6 months ago, and I will share why, but we're constantly elevating, and we are actually being prepared to be his extensions, him here through us. And so the last satsang that I want to share, that the recent one that happened, was December, or forgive me, in November 2021, Maharaj suddenly said, son, go to India. And I was like, go to India, Maharaj? I'm sure I don't need to tell you, but India is like, what's happening in India. And that time, it was just, COVID was on a rise. But Maharaj had, from day one with COVID, got this engraved in my mind, that who is bigger? And that was through Usha Auntie's satsang with SARS. Like he kept injecting that in my mind every time there was a conversation with family or anywhere, because he says, keep this vessel positive. And of course, we're going to have the up and down days, but he blesses us with he has simplified everything so beautifully for us, that we can just go back to that wisdom and remember to put us on his diamond. Like when people are talking about certain things, then you can actually, not physically, but you can separate yourself and stand on his land. And for me, it's always been Usha Auntie Satsang. Who is bigger, me or SARS, me or COVID? Who is bigger? We are the one who allows something to be alive in our journey. If we accept it in our mind that it exists, then it exists. But it's his blessing that he made me realize COVID doesn't exist, and it didn't. It never did. He never gave me Agya to get vaccinated. And let me just say, it's all his doing. If he guided or got you to do it, it's also his doing. So there is no, oh, I shouldn't have done. A lot of Sangat have told me, oh, I shouldn't have done it. Then that's doubting him again, because, he would have guided you not to. He guided me not to do it. And let me again say that he got me to travel most during COVID, unvaccinated, than any time before in my life. And I used to be a flight attendant for Emirates Airlines at some point in my life in 2007, 2008. So I actually got to travel more during, he made me travel more during COVID. And that was his blessing to, was it a test? Yes. But the moment he kept making me realize that he is bigger, then the path was cleared. It got cleared. You know, it was like, okay, you learned your lesson. You have faith. Faith. Okay, doors open, doors open, doors open. If there was any place that I had doubt, Maharaj kept me there to learn again, to build my faith that he can do anything. So COVID never existed. He guided me to go to India. So I sat with Maharaj. Again, direct connection, always. Even if it's buying lipstick, don't ask your mother. Ask Maharaj. What, literally, Maharaj has guided me to go shopping. Guruji, what do you want me to buy? But invite him in every single, imagine he's your partner. Not imagine, he is your partner. He is your everything. He's your best friend. However he guides you to see him, a father, whoever. I've never had a father figure in my life. I had a father, but his role was written in a way that he didn't play the father figure. So Maharaj, shukrana to him that he became my father, and he made it easier for me to see him as a father, you know? So those people who don't have a very good connection, that's his doing, because there is no good or bad. He makes it that way, so you depend on him. So you're more blessed because you depend on him even more, stronger. So here I was in everything, just call upon him and ask him to choose. And I literally said, Maharaj, if you want me to go to India, whatever you say. That day, a blessed soul by the name of Krushi, who is a guru sister of mine, who's brought much happiness in my life, just by her existence. Krushi messaged me and said, Didi, I had a dream that you were in India. And I was like, do I need a bigger answer than that? So bus, nobody knew but Maharaj. I asked, he delivered. And here I was, went on to the Indian embassy, and they said, and it was incredible that the day that Maharaj guided me to apply for visa, it was the day that Indian embassy had actually posted, that was beginning of November, that they had posted that November 15th, the application. So Maharaj actually made me aware on the day that it was posted. I never checked. It was months that I didn't check the Indian embassy to see if visa was there. I had given up. I was like, if Guruji wants me to go, he'll make it happen. And he'll let me know. He did. 15 days later, the application, or 15th of November, the application would have opened. So he gave me enough time to prepare my documents. I go to the embassy and they say to me, we know that, we don't know why they said this. We don't know why our country has opened to tourist visa after a while. It doesn't make sense to us. Of course, we know who's the doer. But, the manager of the Toronto North York embassy said to me, you probably will get rejected. And I usually, Maharaj has guided me to, he takes you from phases where at the beginning you explain, and then he takes you to a place where you don't need to explain no more. And that is peace. That is like Jai Guruji. But that day he spoke through me and he said to her, look, I didn't decide to come here. God sent me. So if he wants me, if he sent me here already, he's going to make everything happen. You do you, I do me, he'll do him. Like, he'll take care of it if he wants to. It's on his hands. I just got to do my part. And again, over and over, Maharaj has always told me, do your part, leave the outcome to me. Do your part, let go of the outcome. Don't even think about the outcome. And so here I was, sent the application, and of course Maharaj made it happen. Of course. Now the woman said, you'll get rejected because we're actually rejecting our own, the Indian nationals who are getting entry, because apparently you can only hold to one passport. We're also rejecting our own nationals from getting an entry visa, let alone a tourist visa. So I was like, okay, thank you, just send it. And she did. And of course, Maharaj one day said, today your visa will come, and the visa came. And I went to India, and Maharaj blessed me to go to India, and no vaccination certificate was checked. Nothing was checked. Nothing. Now, in the embassy, at the embassy, they told me that once you get to India, and also at the airport, they said once you get to India, you have to wait for hours because they have to do another PCR test. They will check your vaccination, this and that. And I was like, whatever he wants. So get to India. I walked out of India easier than I walked out of malls in India. Like nobody was there. He made me invisible. He made them invisible. There was no one at all at the airport. So got to India, and Maharaj. First day I planned, Maharaj made it exactly go the opposite. Second day I planned, and then suddenly he said, "Who is the planner here? Leave it, flow, just flow." Just flow. And that was again another blessing. And I just said, Maharaj, you plan. And when that happened, it became unimaginable incidents in India. But I want to share one that is so profound to me. Maharaj called me from day one when I got to India. Maharaj guided me to Amritsar, and before I even traveled to Golden Temple, and before I traveled to India, Maharaj guided Ajmer Sharif through an article. Nobody sent it. Nobody. He sent an article my way, and I learned about Ajmer Sharif. And I go to India. Cookie Aunty. Maharaj blesses me to go to his satsang at Cookie Auntie's place. And Cookie Aunty just looks at me and says, son, I feel like you should go to Ajmer Sharif. And I was like, Jai Guruji Maharaj. So then it kept confirming Golden Temple, Ajmer Sharif. And of course, Maharaj made it happen. For whatever he wants done through us, he will provide everything necessary for that task to be completed. Whatever it is, he will provide it. And so here I am, Golden Temple. I'm standing. He sends us to a Golden Temple. Now, the night before Amrit Villa, we went to Golden. At night before we went to, we stayed the night so we could be in the Golden Temple for Amrit Villa. And so the night before, we started going to a lot of gurdwaras, wherever Guru Nanak Dev Ji, of course, another incarnation of Maharaj, wherever he had gone. And he was planning so well, Maharaj. And as most of you know, when you go to the Gurdwara, there's I don't know why I called it a billboard once, but it's not. It's like a big sign outside each Gurdwara that explains what the Gurdwara represents. What Guru Nanak Dev Ji did there, was it his house, whether it was his shop or whatever. So everywhere had that, but there was one place that it didn't. And it stood out. He, of course, created it that way. It stood out for me. And it stood out for me to a point where I was just like, where am I? Like, where are we? Suddenly, there was a step. The moment I took a step, I heard in my right ear Maharaj saying, accounts cleared. Accounts cleared. And I was like, okay. Didn't pay much attention to it, heard it, went in. Then so this was the Gurdwara where they had taken Guru Nanak Dev Ji to do the inventory, where he was doing tera, and then they assumed that the inventory, I shouldn't explain, but where they take him to the investigation department, to the accounts department. So they took him somewhere else to count the inventory, where they realized once it grew, it increased, second it increased, and then the third time they were like, bus, it keeps increasing. And so that's where I was, where they had taken him to do this inventory. And I walked in, then I saw the poster and I read that it's accounts department. And I was like, Jai Guruji. And with the Sangat that I was with, I was like, Maharaj just told me where we are before I even read about it. But see, we think that this is our mind, like he plays this fun puzzle where you think it's for this reason, but I was about to find out what that meant the next morning, standing inside Golden Temple, which brings goosebumps to me. So, okay, we go, and let me say, we walk into that Gurdwara, we mata teko to Maharaj, and then the gentleman, the Sevadar said, you know, there was a open, like a hole inside a wall, and he said, you know, Guru Nanak Dev Ji actually stood inside this part where they investigated him. And I was like overwhelmed because I'm like, well, Maharaj stood here in just his another light form. And I said, listen, can I please touch and can I please mata teko here? And he said, yes, absolutely. The moment me and the auntie I was with mata teko, this fragrance went boom, like, and he was mesmerized. He was like, look, like you need to stay. Please come upstairs. So his house was upstairs. He took us upstairs, of course, Al Maharaj gave us prashad, gave us chai. So Maharaj blessed us that. So we stayed in this accounts department. For whatever reason, Maharaj knew that we had to stay there to cleanse what or to bless what, he knows. And so we left the next morning. 4 in the morning, we were in line. Maharaj got us to go in line, and suddenly, 2 mystical things happened. One, I got a vision of Paramahansa Yogananda right there, which after when I left and I came out of the Gurdwara, suddenly someone sent me a WhatsApp message saying today is Paramahansa Yogananda's birthday. And I was mesmerized that how I had received his vision. And of course, other forms of Maharaj in different, of course, it's all one light, different forms. And so then the second thing that happened while waiting, suddenly Maharaj said to me, son, the Hukamnam is yours. And I had forgotten about Hukamnam. We were waiting in line. I had forgotten. Maharaj reminded me. It wasn't something that I ever listened to, I looked for, seek. It was something that I saw certain Sangat listen or seeing on TV every morning. They would open the channel for the Golden Temple, and I understood through that there's a Hukamnam, but I was not looking for it. I had forgotten it basically. And here Maharaj reminded me and said, the Hukamnam is yours. They brought Maharaj through the divine book, Guru Granth Sahib. And, you know, we were still in line, and then the Hukamnam was read. And I want to read the Hukamnam to you all because I was crying for days. I was crying for days. The accounts clear the night before was Guruji's indication for this. Surat 5th Mehil. Sorry if I say anything wrong, Maharaj. So this was the Hukamnam. He did not, and this was 5th of January 2022. If you all want to, you just have to Google it, 5th January 2022. He did not take my accounts into account. Such is his forgiving nature. He gave me his hand and saved me and made me his own forever and ever. I enjoy his love. The true Lord and Master is merciful and forgiving. My perfect Guru has, my perfect Guru has bound me to him, and now I am in absolute ecstasy. The one who fashioned the body and place the soul within, who gives you clothing and nourishment. He himself preserves the honor of his slaves. Nanak is forever a sacrifice to him. So this was how he blessed to make me realize that we as souls have to go through much suffering, but that suffering is needed, and he only knows why I, you, any of us go through what we go through, but it's so worth it. Like I said, I used to, for 6 years or 3 years of being bedridden, I used to like, pinch myself that how could I live this life? But today I pinch myself that how could I live this life? So for whatever depth of pain that you go through, Maharaj will bless you with the same depth of pain, but I have to say it's not the same. It's not the same. He blesses you with more. India took something away from me in my soul. He made me become a different person. I see it in my perception, in my speaking. Gosh, like, look, just one video. One time I was having this fun time with Maharaj, and I was like, Guruji, the shadow satsang that's on YouTube from 4 years ago, it took me 26 minutes to say one satsang. And Guruji was like, I was like, oh, I wish I could delete that. And Maharaj was like, no, this is a satsang of its own. How you speak is my doing. How you are is my doing. How you perceive is my doing. Everything is my doing. This is a satsang of its own. He makes you just, he makes you realize that, you just become so grateful for everything that you've gone through that has made you fall in love with him. And for me, it's all about the heart. It has nothing to do with anything external. Nothing to do with anything external. Okay, so that was India's satsang. Ajmer Sharif was another place that I felt like I had been there before. I can't explain it. When we went to Ajmer Sharif, and let me say the grace of his that happened there. The moment we walked straight in front of Ajmer Sharif, the moment, azan is the Islamic, how do I describe it? It's the Islamic prayer that is sang before the prayers start, if I'm saying it right. Yeah, it's so the moment we walked in front of, right when we got to the entrance, the azan started playing, and we were again just crying and just taking in all the blessings. How he's taught me that he's in all religions, all paths. There's only him. Today, there's a satsang that happened, of course, right before I started. Maharaj said, son, remember, right before the satsang started, Maharaj was like, son, remember to share the ibadat satsang. And the first shabad that played was ibadat kar, ibadat kar. It was so incredible. And I was sitting there like, Maharaj, Shukrana. Ibadat Kar Satsang is 2018, the first time Maharaj called me to India. Now, that trip was so different from the trip that happened. That was a healing trip. That was him, of course, removing a lot of karma, whether it was through me being in Baramandar or whatever that was. He knows. But that time I was just inside Baramandar for the whole 30 days, which was planned for 11 days. He said change it to 30 days. That same day, when I asked for his guidance and confirmation, when I walked into Baramandar that same day, an uncle came up to me and said, son, I need you to be here for Guru Nanak Dev Ji's birthday, which when we calculated, it ended up being exactly 30 days that I could stay. So all we have to do is say, Maharaj, you decide everything. This is true surrender. There is no asking from my part. There's no planning from my part. You will guide me, and you will guide me. It's not like guide me. That's again asking. Or bless me. That's again asking. Or, you know, forgive me. Or that I know you're merciful. I know you're blessing me. I know, you know, because that's a different relationship. That's what he taught me as well. So Ibadat Kar, I'm standing in front of where Maharaj went inside his meditation cave. And I was like literally just touching the doors, and I was just embracing. I was just like, Maharaj has touched these doors. How amazing. And I come inside, I get called to come inside the Langar hall and to remove Sangat's bags, Sevadar bags, so I could vacuum where their bags were and then put the bags back where it was clean. The moment I went there, suddenly Ibadat Kar started playing from somebody's bag, but it wasn't somebody's bag because I kept, like, I put the bags in my, you know, like I was like, where is it coming from? And it was continuing. If it was a ring phone, it would stop, but it went on and on and on. And I asked the Sangat, what does it mean? And of course, pray to me and I'll take care of everything at the end of the day. That's all that means. Direct connection. But really, again and again, it's from the heart, not because I have to, not because this person or that person has a relationship with Guruji, so I should. No, like I really want God for God. I really want him for him. And rest he'll take care of. Now, Maharaj, at the beginning of my divine connection with initiation, I used to think that I'm old Sangat. And I'm sorry, new Sangat. And this concept of new and old didn't resonate well with my, and then of course, Maharaj's divine book, The Divine Light, he has said, you don't know how many lifetimes you've been with me. So come out of these foolish discussions. And I, you know, like what I mean is I would be at certain satsangs and someone would say like San Aunty, who's a new satsang, and that didn't resonate, or they would call someone else or, you know, another name and they would say new sang. They would decide and label each other. And this Maharaj made, like, he was like, come out of this. Just come out of this. There's much more important things than to have these labels. And so that night I had a dream. One night when I was having this chatter with Maharaj, I have a dream. I have a dream that I'm walking with Guruji Maharaj and I was a man. I was a male. I was a young man, maybe it was in my 30s, 35, standing right beside Maharaj, and we're walking somewhere that looked like Dugri Mandir. But this time when I saw, I didn't have Agya to go inside Dugri Mandir. In this physical life, I stood outside and I thought it was Dugri Mandir, but it wasn't. It was another place where Guruji knows, but so he only knows truly who is new and old. And I have to say one more thing, that if I made anyone, and I, you know, if I, for example, if you make me special, Maharaj will do something through me that will like make you realize that this person is not who, you know, like for me, I saw certain, the first year I saw certain people as like the like the closest to Maharaj, and then he created something, whether gossip, whether something, and I was like, wait, but they're not like following Maharaj's hukam. So he of course it was his doing that. Don't put anyone on a pedestal. I am here and everybody's on the same level. You are no different just because, you know, you're from different culture, or because you did, or you saw me in your grandmother's house, or somebody. None of you know nothing. None of you know nothing. That's what he taught me. I want to share one more satsang. Did I start at 11? Yes. Okay. So October 17th, Maharaj sent me to another country that was also his doing. I had some karma that was left at a place, and he wanted to get rid of that karma for me. And I really believe when Maharaj, I believe, said to Narendra uncle or Matkan aunty, if I'm not mistaken, that there are certain blessings that I can't do at a certain place and I have to send you somewhere else to do it. And I realized that for myself. He sent me somewhere to a tropical country where he started to recite Many Lives, Many Masters, and he had told me to read the book. And then the next day he got Bambi Aunty to come on Zoom to confirm exactly. And I hadn't told anybody. He literally made Bambi Aunty to come on Zoom and say that Guruji himself had told her to read Many Lives, Many Masters. And it made sense why a lot of incidents happened in my life. He also showed a lot of past life dreams with certain people, why I had attracted a certain relationship here to learn what I had to learn. And so here I am in October 17. I went to a country all alone. I didn't know a single soul. And of course, I didn't need to. I know Maharaj, and that's all I needed to know, or who I needed to know. And one October 17, Maharaj gives me another blessed dream. And this dream is something that I can feel fully today. I saw a dream of, so I have to say, just pause here. Weeks before I saw this dream, I would get visions, or Maharaj would give me visions of myself hugging him. Like suddenly I would see myself inside of Baramandir coming in, and I would see myself hugging Maharaj. Or I would have visions of him inside his Mahasamadhi standing beside the Jot, and like hugging him, or just, at a satsang or something. Then on October 17, he shows me an actual dream. And as we know, those dreams are reality. They're, as he said, they're telepathic messages. They come with blessings. And I saw myself getting up. Maharaj opened the door. He came inside a room that I was in. He was wearing black trousers and like a summery shirt, like red shirt. And I just walked up to him and hugged him. And I can still feel on this hand, I can feel his body. He has blessed me to still have the feeling of touching his body, like my hand going on his body. Like, you know how you hold someone and you can feel their skin? And it was amazing and can't explain it. It was so beautiful. And again, from the heart, that's what he keeps. And again, none of it is your doing. Yeah, it's just relationship with Maharaj is just love, nothing else, just love. I don't have any other explanation for it. And without any need, without any demand, without any asking, just him for him. And so then a couple of days later, or a couple of weeks later, when I came back to Canada, suddenly I heard, I saw a satsang where Maharaj was hugging, I believe, Vijay uncle, when Maharaj went to his hometown. And I was seeing that satsang, and I was like, wait a second. It's so funny how Maharaj creates something like this. I was like, wait a second. I hugged Guruji, but Guruji, did you hug me? And I see you hugging Vijay uncle there. And truly you can talk to him about everything and anything. And the next day, we have an Italian Sangat by the name of Marco in Toronto, who is incredibly blessed by Maharaj. And he came and we shared satsangs together. And suddenly he looked at me. Now, he didn't know anything. Nobody knew about this dream darshan till today. And I said it actually just that day only, when I was on a Zoom satsang of Commander the Gorgon satsang, and that only. And Marco suddenly looked at me and said, son, Maharaj hugged you. And I was like, what did you just say? We were not even talking about. And then suddenly the lights started flickering. And see, he removes doubts, questions, and in such mesmerizing, puzzling way. And I was like, Marco, I didn't even tell you about my dream. And he was like, what dream? And it's like, I understood that it wasn't him talking. Maharaj actually hugged you. And it was so profound and so amazing. I'm going to share one thing that I want to say to everyone, especially at this time. I was very fearful, 2018, very fearful in my life. Just had gotten up, didn't know what, I didn't have, Maharaj didn't give me the wisdom that I have today, that life is in his hands. Let it flow, let it go the way he wants it to go. I don't need to know anything. I don't need to know what happens 5 minutes from now. I don't need to know what happens 10 years from now. But then because of him wanting to deepen my connection, of course, and many other reasons and learnings, he didn't give me this wisdom then. And I'm standing vacuuming inside the Seva, inside the Langar hall in Baramandar, and I'm like, I've shared this before, but I must. And I was like, Guruji, I'm so fearful. Okay, so my plans are until, you know, that time it was December 3. I have to return on December 3. And what do I do after? What do I do? What I'm gonna do? What is life now? I mean, you know, and here he was probably laughing like, just heal, okay? Just chill for a moment. You want to run back to life. For what? What distraction? And then suddenly I was like, I kept saying, Guruji, I'm so fearful. And then I get called. I was the only one inside the Langar hall and no one was there. And I had pretty much vacuumed everywhere. And I get called to wash my hands so we could come back and prepare for Langar, Sevadar Langar. And as I walk out, this newspaper touches my feet inside Guruji Maharaj's Baramandar Langar Hall. Fear nothing. And I want to say, Maharaj has, for me, I should say for me, he has come to bring this weak, people-pleasing, someone who had no value for herself, no self-respect, no self-love. It was always about other people. It was always about, obviously due to fears and a lot of things, I always try to seek approval from other people to feel some sort of acceptance for myself. And Maharaj has come in my life, of course, for many reasons he knows, but one of it is for self-value, self-love, and of course, with many things that happen in my life, with the, you know, incidents that I had happen in my life, he brought me to this point that be confident. If I, Guruji Maharaj, live in you, which I live in everyone's heart, then you need to be confident in life. Be confident. Now, what does this mean? A lot of people say, well, I don't have the job, I don't have a relationship, I don't have this. How can I be confident? How can I be confident when, you know, I don't feel Guruji's in connection with me, or I don't feel, if you know his name, he is in connection with you. You know, and I've realized even if you don't, I didn't. I mean, and then he was there. He guided me to go to Iran to see my grandma. And, you know, he actually said, tell your mother if she dies and I don't see her, I'll never forgive you. He spoke through me that I was in Iran and I saw my grandma. Back then I didn't know Maharaj, but he was there. So he's always there. It's us who doubts. And it's beautifully written in Autobiography of a Yogi, which Maharaj told Sangat to read. Why? Because he said, once you read the book, you will find me in there. And I find him in every guru. He's just in different forms. Mahavatar Babaji said this: if you come to doubt, I will give you every reason to doubt. But if you come with faith, and if you come with love, I will do everything to deepen that love and faith for you. So it's of course, it's all his, everything is in his control. And I truly do believe that he decides where we are in our connection, of course. But, you know, just as long as we have this desire to leave it all for him to do, then he prepares us to become. If we trust that everything is in his creation and everything is him ultimately, if we could just start from there, that we can't even breathe without his blessing. So everything is going there. So that builds our faith. And if we have faith, then he gives us more reasons to, he just draws us closer to him. So it says here, power your way forward, take control of every ride, show the world your bold side. Why? Show the world your bold side means the divine in you. Get up and express the divine in you. He is in you, he's got you. And as long as we are taking his name before doing anything, he will guide us. He will do everything through us. Build to mirror your attitude and conquer every challenge. Go ride fearless. So I am so grateful to Maharaj that he takes us through those moments where we lose it all, and then he prepares us to become empty. That's why he said, you're all dirty vessels, and I of course was. And he had to empty everything so he could pour in, everything that he wanted. And this getting rid of is a bit painful, not a bit, very much so, but it's the more cleaning he does, the more suffering, but the more joy, the more bliss, and the more love connection we have with Maharaj. I don't think I can never stop. There's so many other satsangs, but it's just, I think I'll leave it there. Maharaj, anything else you want to share?
Jai Guru, Jai
Jai
Guruji
Guru
Saran.
Maharaj.
Auntie, if you have time and if you are comfortable, Guru Parivar may also listen one poem from you.
Poem, uncle?
Yeah.
Poem. I honestly don't have any uncle, you said it, but I'm so sorry. I don't have any poem, but let me see here. Maaf karo, one moment. I have Persian, but I don't have.
You had one English poem. You remember, which we heard last year?
The singing.
Yeah.
I have to go on my laptop, uncle.
Okay, next time we'll hear. No problem.
Next time. Next time.
Sure. Next time.
So much.
I'll be requesting Khushi Aunty to unmute herself. Khushi Aunty, please unmute yourself.
Jai Guruji.
Please say some words for San Aunty, please. After a long
yes,
time.
Uncle. Yes, Uncle. Shukrana, Guruji.
This is the Khushi that, I'm so sorry. This is the Khushi that Maharaj came through. I'm so sorry to interrupt, Khushi.
Actually, I would say Maharaj through you came for me. Like it was a phase, and truly, Didi, those 6 months were literally transforming through a blessed seva. Guruji made us meet, and how I literally wanted to, someday talk to her, and how Guruji bought her in his child's life, and how he kept blessing us both by way, like something Didi shares, like it was Didi, it is for me, like something Guruji through me showing or anything for her, that would be her message for her. And sometimes we literally discussing Guruji, and Guruji giving confirmations, and so many blessings through her. Guruji blessed, like be it the Basuri diploma course, or may it be any decision while choosing the course. Guruji always, finds Guruji sends you messages through his own mediums, and he makes you meet to them. So this is the biggest blessing, I would say, that Guruji is best in his timings, and the people he make us meet, that is truly when the timing is best for us to meet. And I would always thank Guruji for blessing me with my older sister, my Didi Love, as I called her, my Didi Love, Shukrana Guruji. And she's very, very sweet, and very blessed. Shukrana Guruji. Thank you so much. Thank you, Didi.
We all are. Shukra. We all are. We all are. We are so blessed that we don't know how blessed we are. All of us here. Anyone. Shukrana. Shukrana.
Jai Guruji.
Jai
You
Guruji
remember,
Maharaj.
you remember, son auntie, we missed you last year, and I was also annoyed with you for not interacting with me. You remember?
Yes, Uncle, this trip to India,
Yeah.
yes, I couldn't meet. Actually, truly, Uncle, all planned by Maharaj. All planned by
Yes.
Maharaj.
Next time. I'll
Whenever.
be Guru Parvar witness a mesmerizing, blissful divine journey sharing from you. I'll be requesting Pooja auntie to unmute herself. Pooja auntie, over to you.
जय गुरु जी सारे गुरु परिवार को to the all Guru Parivar members, Jai Guruji. And Pirahesh Aunty, we just enjoyed, Guruji's blissful journey. What the very, blissful messages we got from you, and that is very, very true. He decides everything, and whatever we do, whatever we, wherever we go, all his planning. We are just puppets of his hand, and we want to be like this only. And and this is very true. You said the inner transformation and the inner wisdom, this is all his immense blessings of Guruji Maharaj. The way you have explained and expressed your blessings of Guruji Maharaj, that is too good. That was just touching, soul touching. The way sharing your blessings and the journey with the wherever you go, and everywhere you can feel the love, and that his love is for everyone, is the same but the different ways. So that is very, it is difficult to understand, but there is no differentiation in his blessings and love, his warmth is to always we are very fortunate to listen your satsang today, and we would like to see you once again and many more times, because the way you express his love with Guruji Maharaj, that was too good, and we are also feeling very blessed today. And as we all know, Guruji says ki listen and who says, his blessings flows both the ways. So thank you, thank you so much, Guruji Maharaj, for giving us this time. And this is all Shukrana to Guruji Maharaj. Thank you so much. Thank you. Jai Guruji Maharaj.
Jai Guruji Maharaj. Shukrana.
Jai